guys, and welcome back to another video of ECK Sports, and today I am back at it with another video, and today I am going to be giving my 2022 MLB season predictions. Now for a while I was kind of debating if I should do these MLB videos anymore, maybe I should do some NFL videos. I made the decision to stick with these MLB videos, and without further ado, let's get into this video. Now let's start off with the standings in the AL East. At number 5, we got to start with the Baltimore Orioles. This team just isn't that great. I feel really bad for Orioles fans because they have to go through this every year. They have Cedric Mullins, Trey Mancini, and Ryan Mountcastle, as well as John Means on the pitching side. Those four are really it on the team. And Anthony Santander, he's not really too bad either, and they have some good depth pieces. But overall, this team is just not even close to being good enough to compete. At number 4, I have the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, I really should be learning my lesson about the Rays because I always pick them to be 4th every single year, even when I wasn't doing videos, and they always prove me wrong. Why do I put them 4th? Because they never have great starting pitching talent. Their lineup just isn't amazing, and I always doubt this team. I don't know why I keep doing this every year, but the teams ahead of them just are a lot more talented. When your ace is Shane McClanahan, who's a fine pitcher, you have issues. But I will admit, their bullpen is really good, led by Andrew Kittredge. They did lose Colin McHugh, which is a huge loss for them. In the lineup, I actually really like their lineup. Mike Zunino is a really good hitter. G-Man Choi, Brandon Lau is really good. Wander Franco, he's going to be very good, as well as Randy Arozarena. And then their outfield, they have some good fielding outfielders that can hit every now and then. The Rays aren't terrible, and they're definitely going to be in playoff contention, but I just like the 3 teams ahead of them a little bit more. At number 3, the team that I originally had number 4 is going to be the Boston Red Sox. Very similar to the Rays. I say that because both of their rotations aren't that good. But guess what, guys? The Red Sox rotation is actually better than you think. Starting rotation is Nathan Eovaldi, Nick Pivetta, Tanner Houck, Rich Hill, and Chris Sale. We don't know how Chris Sale is going to be, but at worst, he's going to be a solid 4 or 5 starter, and that's at worst. At best, he could probably take over the ace role from Nathan Eovaldi. Is Nathan Eovaldi really an ace? No, he's not. Is Nick Pivetta really that good? No. But Tanner Houck was pretty good from when we saw him last year. Rich Hill is still a good pitcher, even at the age of 40. Even the bullpen isn't that bad. Josh Taylor, Jake Diekman, Hansel Robles, Garrett Whitlock, and Matt Barnes, those are guys that can come in and help you out in that bullpen and close out games for you. Not to mention the lineup. Christian Vasquez, pretty solid. I love the addition of Trevor Story. You have Rafael Devers, who's an MVP candidate. In the outfield, of course, Alex Verdugo and Kike Hernandez are 2 crucial pieces to that team. They have really good depth, which I think is important, as well as JD Martinez. At number 2, I am going to put the New York Yankees. Now, I know there's a lot of questions about the starting pitching for the Yankees. Garrett Cole, he's one of the best pitchers in the MLB. Because behind Garrett Cole, they actually have some solid pitchers. Jordan Montgomery is a pretty good pitcher. Luis Severino, we'll see how he comes back from the injury. I could easily see Nestor Cortez breaking out big time this year. He looked really good last year. He's going to improve. He's young, and he's a really good pitcher. In the bullpen, Lasagna, Green, Michael King, Aroldis Chapman, that's a good group of guys. And then the lineup is always going to be stacked. I mean, you got Anthony Rizzo, DJ LeMahieu, Josh Donaldson, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Joey Gallo, Giancarlo Stanton, and Aaron Judge. Those guys are going to produce for you. At number 1, you've got the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, let me just say this. The starting rotation is legit. Kevin Gausman, Jose Barrios, Hyun-Jin Ryu, Alek Manoah, Yusei Kikuchi. That 5 right there is unbelievable. Kevin Gausman was really good last year. Cy Young candidate. Jose Barrios, breakout season. Great season from him. Hyun-Jin Ryu, yeah, he had a down season last year. But if you guys don't remember, in like 2019 or 2020, he was one of the best pitchers in the league. And even the year before that, to have as your 3rd, 4th, or even 5th starter, Alek Manoah had a great season last year. And Yusei Kikuchi, also a really good pitcher. He was the Mariners' ace or number 2. So the fact that he's going to be your number 5 in the Blue Jays, that is really good. The bullpen, not as good. But that does not matter because with the starting rotation and then the lineup, you have Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Kevin Biggio, Matt Chapman, Bo Bichette, Lourdes Gurriel, George Springer, Teoscar Hernandez. What a lineup that is. These guys are going to hit home runs. They're going to get on base. This team is going to be really good. Now in the AL Central, at number 5, you have the Kansas City Royals. Now, as much as I wanted to put them higher, I think their ranking is kind of obvious. Now, they have Salvador Perez, who, don't get me wrong, had a historical performance last year. he hit 48 home runs. But I don't think that he's going to replicate that, and his defense is not very good. Bobby Witt Jr., both Witt Jr. and Merrifield, both of them I really like, especially Bobby Witt Jr. He is going to be special this year. Whit Merrifield is always going to give you a good bat. Andrew Benintendi, Alberto Mondesi, they'll be fine for you. They're going to get you hits. Hunter Dozier, he can get you the occasional home run. But overall, this team really is not that good. Maybe they could be better if they have a big breakout season from Brad Keller and Zach Greinke comes back to form, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen. At number 4, you have the Detroit Tigers. This starting rotation is actually solid. You actually have a solid rotation of Rodriguez, Skubal, Mize, Pineda, and Manning. Now, although Eduardo Rodriguez might be the ace, he will not be the ace by the end of the season. It's probably going to be either Mize or Skubal. The bullpen's actually really good, and the lineup, they made some good additions of Javier Baez and Austin Meadows. You'd assume that Akil Baddoo is going to get better. And then, of course, Spencer Torkelson, he's coming up. He's going to get better. Riley Green. I didn't really know if I should put them 3rd or 4th, but I decided to put them at 4th. At 3, I have the Cleveland Guardians. Now, the Guardians are one of those teams where their pitching really carries them because in their hitting, they have Franmil Reyes, Jose Ramirez, Bobby Bradley, Miles Straw, and that's about it. You really just have Reyes and Ramirez, but that rotation, Bieber, Savali, Plesac, and McKenzie, that's a great 4. The bullpen with Karen Shack and Clase, they're going to lock down games for you. I think that their pitching will be just enough to get them over the Tigers, and I think that guys like Ahmed Rosario, Jose Ramirez, Bobby Bradley, they're going to be able to produce for this Guardians team. I don't really think that they're going anywhere, so yeah, I'm putting them 3rd. At number 2, I've got the Minnesota Twins. Now, the Twins actually made some really good additions this offseason. They brought in Gary Sanchez, Sonny Gray, Dylan Bundy, and Carlos Correa. I think if Byron Buxton can stay healthy, then this team might be dangerous. Carlos Correa will provide them with a really good bat, and if you have Jorge Polanco, Miguel Sano, Max Kepler, these guys are all going to hit for you. This offense is really good, but I just really worry about the bullpen because the Twins bullpen is terrible. And then at number 1, who else was it going to be? It's the Chicago White Sox. There's no other answer. If you look at their pitching, Giolito, Cease, Kopech, Lynn when he comes back. The bullpen is fantastic. They added Kendall Graveman. They have Aaron Bummer, Liam Hendricks, got Yasmani Grandal, Jose Abreu, Andrew Vaughn, Yohan Moncada, Tim Anderson, Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert, AJ Pollock, Gavin Sheets even if you want to throw him in there. That is a stacked lineup. AJ Pollock is one of the most underrated outfielders in the MLB right now, and he is going to provide the White Sox with a great bat. Alright, now in the AL West at number 5, it's pretty obvious. I have Oakland Athletics. Their rotation is nothing at this point. All they have is Frankie Montas. The bullpen is completely just destroyed, and so is their lineup. I mean, they traded away Sean Manaea, Matt Chapman, Matt Olson. This team is just wrecked at this point, easily finishing in 5th place. In 4th place, you have a team who has made some big additions this offseason, and that is the Texas Rangers. The Texas Rangers made 2 really big additions of Marcus Semien and Corey Seager. They also made a great signing of John Gray. I could see this team being really good. I feel like they don't really have that much depth, and their rotation is a little questioning. I feel like that they're relying on younger guys to develop and improve, and that can be good, but that can also be bad. So I could see the Rangers doing really well because they have some good bats. They have Cole Calhoun, Willie Calhoun, 2 guys that are really inconsistent, but also can be really good, along with Mitch Garver. Marcus Semien and Corey Seager are 2 of the best middle infielders in the league. Coming in 3rd, you have the Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani-led Los Angeles Angels. For the pitching, Shohei Ohtani, Noah Syndergaard are 2 pretty good starting pitchers. Noah Syndergaard hasn't really pitched in a while. After those guys, it's kind of question marks. You have Jose Suarez or Reed Detmers. You don't really know what you're going to get out of them. In the bullpen, they actually added some good arms. They have Archie Bradley, Aaron Loop, Ryan Tepera, and they re-signed Rafael Iglesias. The hitting, Walsh, Rendon, Trout, and Shohei, that's a fantastic 4. Those 4 are always going to produce. And as long as you have Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani on your offense, Shohei's pitching too, you're going to be competitive. But I just don't see them them being better than the two teams I have ahead of them. At number 2, I have the Seattle Mariners. The Seattle Mariners are a team that are on the rise, and they made some really good additions this off season. One that no one is talking about is their addition of Adam Frazier. Now, I know he wasn't great with the Padres, but Adam Frazier is still a pretty good bat. He was really good with the Pirates. He made the All-Star game. You have Ty France. Their pitching is pretty good with Ray, Gonzalez, Gilbert, and Flexen. Those guys will help them out. They have Jesse Winker, Mitch Haniger, Julio Rodriguez, and Jared Kelenic, who I could both see breaking out. They have Kyle Lewis, J.P. Crawford, Eugenio Suarez, who they added. Really could see them passing the Astros this season. And at number 1, it is still the Houston Astros. Now, I kind of have a bad feeling about the Astros. The Mariners have gotten better. The Angels have gotten better. The Rangers have gotten better. The Astros have gotten worse. And that kind of worries me as an Astros fan. For the pitching, Verlander, we'll see how he comes back from the injury, but I think he should be good. Lance McCullers, also injury. We'll see how he comes back from that. Framber Valdez and Luis Garcia were solid arms for them. They better move Christian Javier to the rotation and not have Jake Odorizzi start, because Jake Odorizzi is terrible. In the bullpen, I like some of their arms. They aren't, crazy good, but I like some of their arms. Losing Carlos Correa is really bad, and I'm not really the biggest fan of Jeremy Pena. We'll see how he does, but you still have Gurriel, Altuve, Bregman, Brantley, Tucker, Alvarez. McCormick is actually a solid bat. Maldonado's not good at all. Making the playoffs, obviously you have the division winners. You have the Blue Jays as the 1 seed, the White Sox as the 2 seed, the Astros as the 3 seed, wildcard teams, the Yankees as the 4 seed, the Mariners as the 5 seed, the Red Sox as the 6 seed. And then the teams that miss out on the playoffs, you have the Rays as the 7th seed, the Angels as the 8th, Rangers as the 9th, Twins as the 10th, Guardians 11th, Tigers 12th, Royals 13th, Athletics 14th, and Orioles 15th. Starting it off with the NL East, you have the Washington Nationals. One name, Juan Soto. That's it. You have, Steven Strasburg and Patrick Corbin. You don't have anything, basically. You added Nelson Cruz, but this team is just Juan Soto right now. So we'll see how they do, but it might be a tough year for the Nationals. Coming in at number 4 is actually a team that I really like, but I just couldn't put them above the teams ahead of them because they're just better. It's simple. And that is the Miami Marlins. The Marlins, you have Alcantara, who's a dark horse Cy Young candidate. Trevor Rogers had a fantastic season. You have Pablo Lopez, Sixto Sanchez, who I'm still a big fan of, and Jesus Luzardo. Those 5 guys are great to have in your rotation. The bullpen is not nearly as good. Picked up Jacob Stallings, who will be a solid addition for them. They also have Joey Wendell. Jazz Chisholm, he's only going to get better. Garrett Cooper are good bats. Jorge Soler was also another add, as well as Avisail Garcia. So the Marlins, will they make the playoffs? I'm not sure. Could they surprise some people? I think so. And then at number 3, you have the Philadelphia Phillies. Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola. Those 2 guys are going to really carry that rotation. And you also have Kyle Gibson, who was really good last season. Ranger Suarez, if you want to throw him in there. The bullpen has gotten a little bit better, even though it still isn't great. The lineup with Castellanos, Harper, Schwarber, Hoskins, and Real Muto is always going to be good. We'll see who plays third base. So I have the Phillies here at number 3 because of some great offseason additions. At number 2, I really wanted to put them at number 1, and that is the New York Mets. Why did I want to put them number 1? Simply because of their rotation. Jacob deGrom, who will be out for a while, but honestly, this team doesn't even need Jacob deGrom, as crazy as that sounds, because you have Max Scherzer, who is a more than capable ace. Chris Bassett, great number 2 arm. You have Taijuan Walker, who's also really good. Carlos Carrasco, and then David Peterson. That is 5 pitchers, and then when you add on deGrom, 6 guys that you can really trust. The bullpen, I'm not really too much of a fan of. The rotation, hopefully James McCann, Dom Smith, and Jeff McNeil can all bounce back. Brandon Nimmo, Starling Marte, and Mark Canha are going to have a good outfield. Francisco Lindor, you also hope he's going to bounce back. Eduardo Escobar is going to have a nice bat for you. So pretty much this team is just hoping for a bunch of bounce backs on the hitting side. And if they get like 2 of those guys to bounce back, this team could be really good and maybe even win the World Series. And then at number 1, you have the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves, the World Series champions. What can you say? This team is really, really good. Now, the pitching side, especially the starting pitching, I really like with Charlie Morton, Max Fried, and Ian Anderson. That is just a great top 3 to have. The bullpen, you have Will Smith. No, not that Will Smith. Will Smith, who was a very good relief pitcher. They signed Kenley Jansen and Colin McHugh, 2 great arms. They have AJ Minter and a bunch of other arms that they can rely on. The lineup, I think Matt Olson is just as good as Freddie Freeman is. I know people will disagree with me, but that's just my thought. Ronald Acuna Jr., he's going to come back. You know he's going to be good. It's Ronald Acuna Jr., Adam Duvall, Marcelo Zuna, Eddie Rosario, Dansby Swanson, Austin Riley, Ozzie Albies, Travis d'Arnaud. This team is so good, and they are not going to regress this year. The NL Central, at number 5, you have the Pittsburgh Pirates. Not much explaining needs to be done here. Brian Reynolds, that's it. You have Ke'Bryan Hayes, who isn't that bad. Kevin Newman, who might bounce back. We'll see. And then Daniel Vogelbach. The rotation is absolutely terrible. Everything about this team is just terrible. I feel so bad for Pirates fans who have to deal with this, because just like the team at number 4, this team and these owners just do not care about winning. At number 4, it's the Cincinnati Reds. This team was a couple moves away from being a contender, and they just went the complete opposite way. I mean, they actually made some fine moves, like they signed Donovan Solano. They got rid of some arms in the bullpen. They got rid of Sonny Gray. They let Nick Castellanos walk. They traded both Eugenio Suarez and Jesse Winker away. 2 great bats. You still have Mike Moustakas, Joey Votto, and Jonathan India. And now at number 3, you have the Chicago Cubs. Now the Cubs, after, we saw that trade deadline last year. I don't really think I have to explain that. They have gone into retooling mode as they made a great signing of Marcus Stroman. They didn't sign him, obviously. They signed Seiya Suzuki, which I'm not really that high on Seiya Suzuki. I could see him panning out. I'm not sure how well it'll translate to the MLB. You have Wilson Contreras, Ian Happ, Jason Hayward. So, I mean, it's not really a bad team. I actually think that the rotation's really good with Kyle Hendricks, Marcus Stroman, Wade Miley, and Drew Smyly. But we'll see how it ends out. Number 2, you have the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals are one of those teams that they don't look crazy good on paper, but they're still going to produce. The lineup, I really like it. The outfielders are more of fielding outfielders, but, I mean, Tyler O'Neill's a stud. Harrison Bader is actually not that bad. Tommy Edman, he can get some hits. Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt, those guys are fantastic hitters. And then, obviously, you can't forget about Yadier Molina and Albert Pujols. This team didn't really improve too much in the offseason. The starting rotation's a bit of a question mark. I really like the bullpen, and we'll see how Jack Flaherty does and the rest of that rotation. But as of right now, Adam Wainwright is their ace, and he's like 40. So I don't know how much I can really believe in the Cardinals. And then number 1, I mean, it's pretty easy to make this pick. That's the Milwaukee Brewers. Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff, that's 2 Cy Young candidates right there. You also have Freddie Peralta, Devin Williams, and Josh Hader. Probably the best bullpen duo in the league. Surprisingly, the lineup actually isn't that good as you might think it would be. Colton Wong is okay, but he's not really going to provide too much hitting for you. But you do have Omar Narvaez, Willie Adames, who was an MVP candidate after getting traded. Lorenzo Cain, who's kind of gotten a little bit worse over the years. Hunter Renfroe, who is a great player and is much better than Jackie Bradley Jr. is at this point in their careers. They absolutely fleeced the Red Sox in that trade. I have no clue what the Red Sox were thinking. You have Jace Peterson and Mike Brasso. This team has a lot of depth, which I really like, and obviously the rotation is great. So the Milwaukee Brewers coming in at number 1. Now to the NL West. At number 5, you have the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now I don't know who Ketel Marte's agent is, but Ketel Marte should fire his agent right now, because the extension he got was for about like $15 million a year. After him, though, the lineup really isn't that good. The starting pitching is okay. You have Zach Davies, who is a fine arm. Zach Gallen, who I think could really take a big leap this year. Matt Bum, not the same pitcher. And Merrill Kelly's alright. And then the bullpen, you have Ian Kennedy, Mark Melancon, and Luke Weaver, who might be able to get the job done. But overall, in a stacked division like the NL West, the Diamondbacks aren't going anywhere this year. At number 4, you have the Colorado Rockies. Now, as crazy as it sounds, the Colorado Rockies actually got better this offseason. Despite losing Trevor Story, they got Randall Grichuk and Chris Bryant, so that is at least an improvement. Hopefully this team is going to spend some more in the next coming off seasons and maybe make their team better. Because, I mean, they have some okay bats. You know, Charlie Blackmon's getting up there in age. Ryan McMahon's not too bad. CJ Cron can hit for you. The pitching, though, all around really needs to improve. This team is far away from competing, but at least they improved. That's all I can say. And number 3, a team that I was extremely high on last year, and I was very disappointed, and that is the San Diego Padres. Now, they lost Fernando Tatis Jr., which is a huge loss. I still really like the rotation. Joe Musgrove, great pitcher. Yu Darvish, Sean Manaea, Blake Snell, and Mike Clevenger. Those are 5 guys that you can rely on to pitch for you, as well as Dinelson Lamet, who might be in the bullpen this year. For the hitting side, Manny Machado, Drake Cronenworth, Will Myers, and Trent Grisham are all going to hit for you, and they're going to hit really well for you. It's just a matter of how much this Fernando Tatis Jr. injury is really going to affect, and we'll see how long he is out for. At number 2, you have the San Francisco Giants. Now, as crazy as it sounds, I could honestly see them being below the Padres. They kind of relied on a lot of their older players to bounce back, so maybe they'll come back down to earth this year, but I still really like the Giants. Logan Webb, Anthony DeSclafani, Carlos Rondon, Alex Wood, Alex Cobb. That's 5 guys, 5 really good pitchers to have in your rotation. The bullpen is not the best, but it can get the job done. And then obviously with the lineup, Brandon Belt, Tommy La Stella, Evan Longoria, Brandon Crawford, who I do not think is going to be as good as he was last year, Lamont Wade Jr., Mike Yastrzemski, still a great player, and then of course Jock Peterson, who can provide you with a great bat. So I think the Giants are a really good team. Unfortunately, they are not better than the team ahead of them. And at number 1, you have the Los Angeles Dodgers. So incredibly good. They had Freddie Freeman. They didn't need him. And then, I mean, they didn't even need Corey Seager. And, Dodgers fans are like, oh, we lost a big bat. Well, yeah, guess what? You didn't actually need Corey Seager because you have Trey Turner. And you still have Justin Turner and Gavin Lux, who you might want to develop. You have Chris Taylor, Cody Bellinger, Mookie Betts, Max Muncy. You have enough bats. But then, they had Freddie Freeman because that's just a Dodger thing to do. And also, not to mention, their bullpen is ridiculously good. Still, Walker Buehler, Clayton Kershaw, Julio Urias, and Tony Gonsolin. Just how do you stop this team? Now, for the NL, I have the Dodgers as the 1 seed, the Braves as the 2 seed, the Brewers as the 3 seed, the Mets as the 4 seed, the Giants as the 5 seed, the Cardinals as the 6 seed, and then the teams that miss out on the playoffs, I have the Padres as the 7th, Phillies 8, Marlins 9, Cubs 10, Reds 11, Rockies 12, D-backs 13, Nats 14, and Pirates 15. Before I get into the playoffs, I'd like to do awards, and that starts off with AL Rookie of the Year, and that is going to be Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby Witt Jr., I am really high on Bobby Witt Jr. this year. I'm not sure if Wander Franco is still considered a rookie, because if he is, I might pick Wander Franco. Bobby Witt Jr. is going to be special this year, mark my words. And then NL Rookie of the Year is O'Neal Cruz. I totally forgot to mention him when I was talking about the Pirates, but he is going to be really good this year. Hopefully, they bring him up soon, and hopefully they don't manipulate his service time. AL MVP is, I'm going to go with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I really want to go with Luis Robert, and I kind of want to go with Mike Trout again, but I'm still going to go with Guerrero. A lot of people would argue that he should have won it last year, and he's probably going to win it this year, too. In the NL, I'm going with Juan Soto. Maybe Ronald Acuna Jr. takes it from him, or one of the Dodgers players, because I could probably name about 4 people who could win it on the Dodgers, so I wouldn't be shocked if one of those guys won it. But right now, I have Juan Soto. AL Cy Young, I'm going with Shane Bieber. Already won a Cy Young before. He's going to do it again. I was very close to picking Kevin Gausman and Garrett Cole, but I decided to go with Shane Bieber. In the NL, I was between 4 guys, and that's Walker Buehler, Max Scherzer, Zach Wheeler, and Brandon Woodruff. And I know Scherzer's really the popular pick, but I really decided not to go with him. I also was thinking about Buehler. Then I decided to go with Zach Wheeler. Now, I know that is kind of a hot take, but Zach Wheeler was great last season, and he has been one of the best pitchers in the league and in the National League for the past couple years, especially since he's come to the Phillies, and I think he's going to be really good this year. year, and he will collect the NL Cy Young. Now for the playoffs. Let's start with the AL. Now in the first round, you have the Yankees going up against the Mariners. I'm taking the Yankees in that one. I feel like the Yankees are going to out-hit the Mariners. I feel like that the Yankees are going to be able to get to the Mariners pitching, so they will advance. The Astros against the Red Sox. This series is going to be a very close series. I feel like the two teams are kind of very similar in their strengths and weaknesses, but I feel like that the Astros pitching is really good and the hitting is pretty similar, so I'm going to go with the Astros. And then you have the Yankees and the Blue Jays. I think this one's going to be close, but I've got to go with the Blue Jays. I feel like that their pitching depth is much better than the Yankees is, and it's going to outlast the Yankees, and their hitting, you could argue, is even better than the Yankees. So I just think that the Blue Jays are a better all-around team. And then you have the Astros and the White Sox. This one's easy for me. I'm taking the White Sox. I know the Astros beat the crap out of the White Sox last year. I'm still a big believer in the White Sox. I mean, their pitching is so much better than the Astros is, and their hitting is just as good. So for the same reason why I'm taking the Blue Jays over the Yankees, I'm taking the White Sox over the Astros. And then you have the White Sox and the Blue Jays. This one is really, really hard for me. And I know the popular pick is the Blue Jays. And I know that I really want to pick the White Sox. I picked the White Sox last season. I think I even picked them mid-season last year. I'm going to go with the Blue Jays, though. I think this is going to be 6 or 7 games. It's going to be a tough series. I just think that the Jays pitching is slightly better than the White Sox. Both lineups are amazing. The series is going to be very close. Now in the NL, you have the Giants and the Mets. By a fingernail, I'm going with the Mets in 5 games. I think it's going to be a very close series. Hopefully Jacob deGrom is back by that time. And if he's back by that time, well, good luck trying to hit against them. And not to mention their lineup is still pretty good, even if some of those guys don't bounce back. And then you have the Brewers or Cardinals. And Cardinals, that one's really easy for me. I'm going with the Brewers. There's too much questions around the Cardinals pitching and their hitting depth, so I got to go with the Brewers. And then you have the Dodgers and the Mets. And as much as I really want to go with the Mets, unfortunately, I just have to go with the Dodgers. They're the evil empire. I know the Yankees are considered the evil empire, but at this point, it's really the Dodgers. So I'm going with the Dodgers. And then you have the Braves and the Brewers. I feel like that the Braves get out of it and sneak by the Brewers. I just think that their hitting is much better than the Brewers is. And while the Brewers pitching might be a little bit better, I'm still going with the Braves because I think that their bullpen is just as good as the Brewers is, maybe slightly worse, even though their starting rotation's worse. And then you have the Dodgers and the Braves. This is a tough one. Actually, no, it's not. It's the Dodgers. The Dodgers are just so overpowered. This team is just unbelievable. There's no other way to explain it. I mean, just moving on. You have the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. And yes, I would absolutely love to go with the Blue Jays. Their pitching is so exciting. They have a lot of young talent on their hitting and their pitching. I'm gonna go with the Blue Jays. My brain tells me Dodgers, but you know what? I'm going with the Blue Jays. To be honest, I think the Blue Jays pitching might even be better than the Dodgers is. While their hitting isn't as good, it's very close. So I'm gonna go with the Blue Jays to defeat the LA Dodgers in 7. Thank you guys for watching, and if you did enjoy, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe button. This was a very long video, so I hope you guys enjoy it, and I will be posting some more MLB videos this upcoming season. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.